All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Kwadash. Giving double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Peace and salutations to the brethren, the Akim out there on the highways and byways pushing this truth with 100% sincerity. And peace and salutations to the sincere sisters, the few and sincere sisters who believe in this gospel. So I am going to entitle this lesson, I'm going to entitle it No Chance of Survival in Babylon the Great. And I'm going to kind of just do a lesson pertaining to this article on End Time Headlines. And it says Putin warns that when Russia nukes America, there will be no chance of survival and there will be no single enemy left, right? So, Putin, Russia, he's making threats, and this is a part of biblical prophecy, right? Not necessarily the threats, but what he's threatening to do. That is part of biblical prophecy because, as we know, pertaining to the book of Revelations, the book of Isaiah, the book of 2 Peter, which I'm going to go into these scriptures here shortly, it is prophesied that America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire, by nuclear missiles, right? And Slovakia. And, and as we see things, we see what's going on with that conflict over there in Israel with the Hamas, I think that's how you pronounce it, and with the Palestinians and the so-called the Ish people, you know what I'm saying? We see that is going on there, and I'm gonna do a lesson on that as well, because that is proof that, what's going on over there in Israel, that conflict over there, is proof that those people are not the true biblical Israelites pertaining to prophecy, right? But this year, where I'm just going to go and, kind of briefly read this article, and then I'm going to go into the scriptures. Lord willing, this is edifying and straight to the point, right? It says, so the Russians are feverishly preparing to fight a nuclear war, but our leaders continue to insist that nuclear war is not a threat because the Russians will never use their nuclear weapons against us, no matter how much they provoke them. And this is how fucking arrogant these goddamn elite or these Babylonians or these fucking Americans. This is how arrogant they are to think that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, won't cause these people to completely annihilate this place, which that is what's going to happen. Eventually, that is what's going to happen pertaining to biblical prophecy. But you see how proud these people are. You see how arrogant they are, right? You fucking Americans are so fucking proud and arrogant. You think that nobody's going to do anything to you, but you're going to be in for a rude fucking awakening. When them fucking alarms going off and the missiles them hypersonic missiles is being shot over here that's about to touch, you know what I'm saying, crossing 7,000 miles in fucking 30 minutes. That's the type of technology that these other countries have. And America's fucking missile defense system has already proved that it is going to fail in the event that something like this happens. And you can look that up too, right? But look, let's continue to read. It says, in fact, I was just reading an article on the official NATO website that was authored by a former U.S. defense official in which he openly admitted that he is assuming that the war in Ukraine will end without Russian nuclear use. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin continues to make public statements about nuking America. This week, he told the entire world that there will be no chance of survival once he launches his nuclear missiles at us, right? And that's true, right? And the scriptures say the Lord is going to put an evil thought in his head, and eventually this is going to happen, right? Eventually this is going to happen. But look, let's go here. Let's go into biblical prophecy, though. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38, and I'm going to start at verse 1. And it says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords." Right? So the Lord, again, and we see this happening, the Lord has put the spirit on these Russians and Putin to begin to bring back that old Soviet Union, right? And that's what's going on. That's what Putin is trying to set up. Putin is trying to set up that old Soviet Union. And the Lord is putting that spirit on them to, you know what I'm saying, turn back to that, right? It says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tagorma of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee, right? And, you know, Russia, they have, you know, they're adding nations to, or they're continually adding, you know, nations to the BRICS nations. You know what I'm saying? They're continually adding other countries. It's just like back during World War II, you had the Allied powers and the Axis powers. I believe that's what they were called. You know, and it's the same thing that's happening today. You know, it's the same thing that's going on, right? It says, "Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them." So like, yeah, let me kind of hear. This is what I want. Verse 10, it says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought." What's that evil thought? To send nuclear missiles over here to America, which these people proudly say that, oh, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And even if they do, our defense system is going to stop them. No, the fuck it's not. It's not. Right? And it says, "And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates." Again, it's talking about America as well, because in the ancient times, they used to build cities with walls around them, right? And now, especially over here in Babylon the Great, you know, you just got, it's unwalled cities, really. You know what I'm saying? You know, we have imaginary boundaries where we say, okay, well, this is the border for this city or this state or whatever. But, you know, as far as something physical that is enclosing the city, there's nothing, right? And it says, "To take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations which have gotten cattle and goods and dwell in the midst of the land," right? Because, you know, America is dwelling safely here. You know, the Americans are dwelling safely because America has never been touched by war from any other countries or any other nations. You know what I'm saying? Right. So this is biblical prophecy that these Russians, you know, are going to engage in nuclear warfare against Babylon the Great. Right. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3. In verse 9, it says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." And that's what these other smaller nations who are partnering up with Russia, you know, they're saying now we're strong, right? They're bucking up against America. You know, they're saying like, hey, man, we ain't taking this bullshit from you Americans anymore, man. We tired of it. And we going to do something about it. And we going to go and we going to partner up with your worst fucking enemy. Right? And it says, verse 11, it says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. thither cause thy thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, right? Which means, well, here it says Jehoshaphat, but the actual Hebrew word is Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment, right? And it says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, right? So this is talking about World War III. This is describing World War III because it says, let the heathen be wakened, right? And it says, all ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about, right? Because the Lord is going to plead, and that word plead is going to judge. The Lord is going to judge these other nations for the controversy or for the purpose or for the sakes of the Israelites, right? Starting with the elect. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to judge these other nations, man. And this is in the setting of World War III. And this is prophesied here, right here in the scriptures, right? And as you know, the book of Revelation says, you know, the second woe is past and the third woe cometh quickly. Talking about World War III. So, man, this thing is on its way. This thing is very much on its way, right? So, look, let's go here to Isaiah 34. And I'm going to start at verse 4, actually. And it says, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, right? Talking about the mushroom clouds, right? Because that's what you see. Matter of fact, right here. That's what you see right here. This is a mushroom cloud. A very vivid picture of what this prophecy is saying, right? And it says, all the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree, right? And that's how many missiles, nuclear warheads are going to hit this place, man. So many nuclear warheads are going to hit this place that this place is literally going to turn into a lake of fire, as prophesied in the book of Revelation, right? It says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is the Greek word for Edom. You so-called white people, you Edomites, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with blood of lambs and goats, the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, right? And that's just representation of America, Babylon the Great, right? Because this is the modern day Basra. This is the modern day land of Idumea, right? And it's describing the blood of lambs and goats and the fats of kidneys. Because if you go into the book of Leviticus in the law, you will see that, the blood of the lamb and Salakia, the blood and the fat of the lambs and the goats were used as, or those were a part of the, part of the sacrifice. Part of the sacrifices in Babylon the Great is really just going to be a giant sacrifice for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? This is verse 7. It says, and the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, in the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. So this is all for the sake of the Israelites, starting with the elect. This is all for the sake of the nation of Israel. This is why all these things are happening. This is why that conflict is going on right now in the Holy Land. Not for those people, not for those devils over there, but for us. For us. From the Negroes all the way down to the Mexicans. Or so-called Negroes all the way down to the so-called Mexicans. But this is who this is for. This is why this stuff is happening, man. And again, nuclear missiles is described right here in the scriptures, right? This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, starting at verse 13. It says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, right? And it's not talking about literal arrows, because you can't shoot literal arrows across the world. What is this talking about? It's talking about ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. And it says, and they shall not miss when they begin to be shot, right? So these missiles are not going to miss. These nuclear missiles are not going to miss when they hit. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Right? Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Right? Because, and again, this is going into the beginning of sorrows here in verse 18, as you see. Right? I guess I can read that. This is the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right? So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to bring these things into fruition. Right? The Lord is going to cause these things to happen. And he's using Esau, right? Mainly these Russian Edomites. He's using them as, the Lord's judgment. And ultimately, the Lord is going to judge them, which is why in Ezekiel 38, it says, I am against thee, Gog and Magog. So the Lord is not with the Russians because they're Edomites as well. The Lord is against them as well, but the Lord is using them to bring forth judgment on Babylon the Great by way of what? By way of nuclear missiles. And it's right here in the scriptures. Because people will look at us and say, man, that's not true. Nuclear missiles is not in the scriptures. Because a lot of people take certain things in the Bible as literal. Like you got a lot of fucking dimwits who would take verse 13 where it says his arrows that he shooteth. A lot of people that take that as literal arrows. Nah, man. Arrows cannot be shot from one end of the earth to the other. But ICBM can. Nuclear warheads via ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles can. So, man, it's all written right here in the scriptures. These things have been prophesied. You know what I'm saying? Let's go here. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. What's that great noise? The nuclear missiles hitting. And it says, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Right? And when it's talking about the works therein, it's talking about the ways of Babylon the Great. Or the kingdom of Babylon the Great. Right? The hold that Babylon has had on planet Earth via the wine that it's pushed, that those doctrines or philosophies that it's pushed upon the planet. All of this over here is going to be burned up. And I'm going to go ahead and close out with this one. This is one of my favorite scriptures right here. Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. And it says, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that are fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth, right? What is going to do that to you? That great fervent heat. From what? From ICBM nuclear missiles hitting Babylon the Great. That's how this is going to happen. That's how this prophecy is going to come to pass. Man, the Lord is cold, man. He's caused these things to be written in the scriptures, right? Isaiah 46 and 10, Let me get that before I butcher it. It says, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure, right? So again, these things have been written from or were declared from the beginning of time. You know, the Lord, it's the Lord's movie. It's his playbook, a playwright. You know what I'm saying? And this is what's going to happen. That's how we know. And the Lord has given us this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Holy Scriptures to be able to understand and see these things before they happen, so that we can prophesy and warn our people, and Lord willing, do our part to wake up the elect. Right? So this is going to be the end of this video, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh, Shalom.